Most people think artificial intelligence lives in the cloud, invisible, weightless, somewhere out there on the internet. But there's something most people don't realize. Artificial intelligence runs on something very physical, electricity. And the amount of electricity AI needs is growing so fast that in some places it's beginning to compete with the same power used by homes and cities. Not in the future, right now. When people imagine AI, they often picture software, something abstract. But behind every AI system are massive computer facilities called data centers. Inside these buildings are thousands of specialized computer chips. They run calculations constantly, training models, processing requests, generating answers, and all of those machines require enormous amounts of power. Training a single large AI model can require thousands of computers running at the same time for weeks or months. Those computers don't just use electricity for computing. They also produce heat, which means the buildings housing them require massive cooling systems to keep everything from overheating. So electricity is used twice. Once for the computation, and again for the cooling systems that keep the computers running. Because AI demand is growing rapidly, technology companies are building more data centers around the world. Many of them are the size of large warehouses. Some campuses contain multiple buildings, and every one of them connects directly to the power grid, which means the electricity that once served homes and businesses now has a new competitor. Artificial intelligence infrastructure. Electricity grids are designed carefully. Power plants, transmission lines, and infrastructure are built to match expected demand. But when a massive new electricity user appears in a region, the system has to adjust. Sometimes that means building new power plants. Sometimes it means expanding grid capacity. And sometimes energy demand rises faster than expected. But the most interesting part of this story is not just how much electricity AI uses. It's understanding why this demand keeps growing. And once you understand that, you start noticing it everywhere. There's actually a simple way to understand why AI electricity demand keeps increasing. Artificial intelligence depends on three things: more computing power, more training, and more data centers. Whenever those three things grow, electricity demand grows with them. Every time companies build larger AI models, they need more computing power. When those models are trained more often, the computers run longer. And when demand increases, companies build more data centers to support it. All of that requires electricity, which is why energy companies around the world are now preparing for rising power demand from artificial intelligence. But here's something useful to know. If you start hearing news about a large AI data center being built near a city, that usually means electricity demand in that region is about to increase. Not because the population suddenly grew, but because artificial intelligence infrastructure moved in. Sometimes a single data center can use as much electricity as tens of thousands of homes. Once you understand that connection, a lot of energy news suddenly starts to make more sense. Artificial intelligence may feel invisible when you interact with it, but behind the scenes it runs on massive physical systems. Buildings full of computers, cooling systems, electrical infrastructure, and power grids. Most people think of AI as something happening on their screens, but the real story is happening behind the scenes, inside the infrastructure that keeps the modern world running. And once you start noticing these hidden systems, you begin to see the world very differently. Not knowing is expensive.